hair all right? Hey, just don't view it from the top, okay? Don't view it from the top. You know, if you're in the liquidation business, you know there are scams and con artists everywhere. Stanley, link down in the description below. Remember the guy that scammed me out of a load? What was his name? Steven. We still remember that doggone guy's name. Steven was from like Kentucky, right? And he said he had a high piece count load for my bin stores. I was desperate to get high piece count loads for my bin stores like every frickin' buddy is in this industry. And you know, Steven says he's got me talk the language. He knew everything about Amazon high piece count. But then when I went to wire him the money, and the load was like, a normal load for high piece count at the time was like 16 to 18,000. His load was 13,000. So I'm like, damn, I gotta get this load, right? So when he gave me his company information to wire the money, I went to wire the money and it came back that they couldn't send the funds. So I called Steven and Steven's like, oh, here, just send it to my wife. Here's my wife's account. And you know, I know I'm a jackass. I know I'm a dumbass for not saying at that point, oh man, you know, this is a con, don't send it to somebody's personal account. No, what did I do? I sent the freaking money out to her personal account. But what happened was Steven actually shipped me a load. I didn't realize what was going on. He shipped me a load. And when it showed up, a Lowe's load showed up. So I was thinking I was getting a $13,000 high piece count, which should be $18,000. But a $3,000 Lowe's load showed up. So when Steven sent me tracking numbers, sent me everything. So I'm like, I have no reason to think that this guy's a freaking scammer, right? I had no reason to think that. And then sure enough, the load shows up, it's a Lowe's load. But at the time I didn't put two and two together. I'm thinking like, oh, my Lowe's guy, because I already buy Lowe's loads, must have messed up and sent me an extra load. And so I'm calling my Lowe's guy up like, hey, why'd you send me this load? And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about, right? And then finally it dawned on me that my scammer, the idiot Steven from Kentucky, right? He sent me the Lowe's load in replacement for the high piece count, which he was supposed to send me the high piece count, right? And then the ultimate act of faith happened. The ultimate act of faith. God, and I'm not a big God guy, but God that night on his Facebook page, because I was stalking him because I was trying to beat it. He was either trying to get him arrested or beat his ass, one or the other. What happened was somebody was driving down the road and smashed into the front of his house. His whole house was destroyed, ruined. And you know, he's a dirtbag, so he probably didn't have insurance. So, you know, karma bit Steven right in the ass. So why are we talking about scams today? It's because scams are everywhere in this business. So you have to be vigilant. You have to look out for them. You know, why I'm talking about it is because my daughter got scammed this weekend. Not really my daughter. My daughter's boyfriend got scammed, okay? So they bought something from Amazon for $700 and accidentally, they live in an apartment complex, delivered it to the wrong address. So my daughter was like, hey, let's just go knock on their door and see if they got it. I think it was like maybe the PS5 or something like that they ordered for Christmas. So they're like, we'll just knock on the door. In the meantime, my daughter told her boyfriend to call up Amazon and see what they can do about it, right? So he Googles Amazon customer service number, right? And so he finds the number and he calls the number and the guy goes, hello, how can I help you? You know, and he's like, yeah, I had the package shipped to the wrong place. The Amazon customer service guy was like, sure, I can fix this for you. What you have to do is go to Cash App, buy some Bitcoin, send it to me, and we'll resolve all this and give you a refund whenever we resend the project. And he was like, no, this is crazy, and hung up on the guy, hung up on the scammer. Sure enough, the scammer called him back from an unknown number, right? And says to him, no, man, this is legit. This is legit. Just buy the Bitcoin from Cash App and send it to me. And what does he freaking do? He sends him almost $800. $800. My daughter was so mad at him. I mean, I hope she doesn't watch this video because she's gonna be mad that I said something. So he's like, can you go borrow the money from your dad? Because they needed money. That money was their rent money. And she says, you're the one who effed up here. You borrow the money from your dad. And so he had to go talk to his dad about getting the money. His dad gave him the rent money. I would have gave it to him, but you know, so now I don't know how to handle it when I see him next time. But you know, people get scammed all the time. You know, I don't know if I've ever told this story, but I was working as a manager of a restaurant when I was in my 20s, right? And this guy calls me up, right? He's like, dude, and right behind me was an auto parts store that shut down. I'm in a plaza, I'm in the restaurant in the plaza. This auto parts store shut down, and he's like, dude, I'm opening up the wheels. Those are the wheels right behind you. I have like $7 million worth of merchandise coming there today. They're dropping off like a generator. I don't even know what he said. The generator to get the building running, up and running. And the delivery driver just needs $500. And you know, hey, what kind of whiskey do you drink? Because I'll bring you a bottle of whiskey. I'll be there in like 45 minutes. Could you just pay the driver for me and I'll take care of you right when I get there? And I'm like, yeah, no problem, man. I'll take care of that. I'll give the guy $500. Sure enough, 5 minutes later, the guy comes in, you know, and I'm like, here's $500, right? And then the guy left, and so I'm waiting. So 45 minutes, I'm like waiting there, like, hey, it's been an hour, 2 hours, you know. And then I'm like, that son of a bitch. That son of a bitch got me. He got me, right? And then and then I did probably one of the most stupid things I've ever done in my life is I called the police, right? So I called the police. The police come, and what do the police do? They laugh at me. That's what they did. They laughed at me. Like, you dumb son of a bitch. Why'd you give this guy $500? So people can get scammed. I got scammed by that guy. Steven got scammed. I mean, one time I was playing football, and there was this guy. He was like 6'9", 350 pounds, right? And I'm in the liquidation business. We're both on the same semi-pro football team. And he says to me, hey, I got a laptop I want to sell. I said, well, I'll buy it, but you ought to try to sell it. Put it on Craigslist or Marketplace because you'll get more money there. But if you can't sell it there, I'll buy it. He's like, all right, let me do that first. So a week later, we're going to a football game, and I'm getting on the bus to go to the game. And I see him, and I'm like, hey, how did you sell your laptop? He goes, yes. You're not gonna believe what happened. I put it on Marketplace for $500. Somebody paid me $700 for it. And I'm like, what? He goes, yeah. They sent me a money order for $700. I'm like, what? He goes, yeah. And he says, so I mailed it out to him, and and I'm like, I don't think that's gonna cash. He says, I deposited it, and it went through. The bank accepted it and went through. I was like, where did you mail the laptop to? He goes, Russia. I'm like, Russia. I'm like, Russia. And you think this is gonna cash? Sure enough, 3 days later, he's like, no, they bounced the check. Now I don't have the $700 to put back into my bank account because I sent my laptop to Russia. To Russia. So listen, everything's a scam out there. Everything's a scam out there. Be super vigilant. Be super vigilant in everything you do. If it doesn't seem right, don't do it. Look it up. Research the people. There's so much going on. You can see in our chat groups and bin store co-op, you know, that everybody's asking if people are scams. Get a reference on everybody. Don't send money to a personal account ever. Never exchange your money on Cash App to Bitcoin. Just be vigilant out there because scams are everywhere.